Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 226, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. I am Zachy Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zachy?
Hey, it is the end of June.
Wow, already, yeah.
Kind of crazy. Are you having this sense of like the entire last year's worth of shows just feel compressed into like a couple weeks?
Yeah. Now that you say that, yeah. I just can't believe how quickly we're going through this year when what we've been saying, the joke sort of last year in 2020 was, yesterday was March and now it's October. Right? Like, how did this go so quickly? And I'm still doing that, having memories and thinking, last year, that was 2019, 2 years ago. I'm still sort of doing that. And I can't believe now that we're in 2021 that it's hauling past, it's almost July.
It'll be 22 before we know it.
It's crazy.
Kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But what have you been up to? Anything interesting?
I guess we can sort of kick off by saying we were going to mention this. I had announced that I got engaged recently.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go out to New York, where my fiance currently is, and starting, in a couple days. Then I'm going to be out in New York for a little bit, and then we are going to pack up her car, and we are going to travel across America. So that is...
via stagecoach.
Via stagecoach, yep.
Yes.
So hoping we won't get dysentery or cross a rattlesnake or something, but I maybe halfway through we'll be like, why were we looking forward to this? But like right now, I think we're both kind of excited at the whole prospect of just seeing the whole whatever we see. We're going to stop, see my parents along the way, and feel sort of free to take a look at anything that looks interesting, along the side of the road. And I don't know, I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, you know what? I think this is a great time in your relationship right at the start to do all the traveling because it gets harder when you have more people around.
You know what? I can imagine. She and I are actually really, really great in the car together. Like, we've taken long road trips and stuff before, but I can imagine the more people in the vehicle, the more challenging it gets.
Dude, I just in the last week, I went with my family. We went like down the road to visit family, and I kid you not, I wanted to stop the car halfway between my house and my brother's house. My brother lives about 18 minutes away. I wanted to stop the car, let them all out, including the little one. She's 4, and just keep going. Not even go to my brother's house. Just go somewhere.
Right.
Because that's the thing about when you have a lot of people living with you, you learn to hate all of them.
Right.
And really, it's the hate that sustains you. That's sort of my takeaway.
It's the glue.
Yeah. It really is. You're afraid to lose it.
You're afraid to lose it.
Yeah. But no, that's going to take you off the grid podcast wise for a couple weeks.
At least 2 weeks. Yeah. And with that in mind, Zachy and I came prepared because we didn't want, the listeners out there to have nothing to listen to for 2 weeks while I'm out there seeing America. So we've banked some episodes, we've banked some commentaries, and I'm excited for those. It's really cool actually having those in the safety deposit box, so to speak.
Now I should point out that initially I was like, Brian, what about the listeners? And Brian was like, to hell with the listeners.
And then I realized he was recording the message. I
said, Brian, I'm going to scream so loud the whole world will hear me.
I don't care.
We should. That's a Simpsons.
That's a Simpsons reference.
I feel like people need to. What are you doing? That was Brian being Dennis Franz.
Dennis Franz.
Which was pretty good.
Yeah.
So we got a couple episodes in the tank, and we'll tell you more about those at the end, but don't worry, we'll be back with our next regular episode. We'll be back just in time to talk about Black Widow, and as we record this, Fast and Furious 9 is about to come out, So
Yeah.
you know, you can look forward to it. We'll be a little bit late getting to that, but in case you're listening to this hoping we're going to talk about F9, I'm going to say, Brian, I really enjoyed the part where they were falling probably in a car, and
and
Roman was
yeah.
describing exactly what
Exactly.
was happening
That's exactly
with
what I
a
was going to say.
question mark at the end.
A car with a rocket booster attached to it. Yeah.
Oh, we're doing this now?
Submarines.
Oh, we're on a planet where everyone's a giant and we're tiny? Oh, okay, I guess we're doing that.
And I imagine, I probably did see this in a trailer or something, but I imagine at some point Dom's like, get me some fast cars. Yeah, I can do your mission. You're going to need cars. Make them fast.
You know what? By the way, this is apropos of nothing. I have not seen the movie yet, but just the trailer comes up on YouTube or whatever, so I just watched it earlier today, and the hook is like Dom's heretofore unseen brother,
Family.
played by John Cena,
Mhm.
right? I don't think it's a spoiler. It's like that's the marketing hook, and it occurred to me then. I'm like, what race are these people? Right?
I actually heard on another podcast from someone who has already seen the movie that they actually have a little throwaway joke line about that.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Something about the Toretto wacky gene pool or something.
Because I know it's like a question mark. Like Dom is Italian, right? I think.
I actually don't know. I
mean Toretto.
The character. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know what Vin Diesel is.
That's what I was going to say.
They grew him in a lab somewhere. But I mean Dom, the character.
They created the perfect specimen.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. It's funny because I'm not anticipating this movie. Like I'm not going to miss it over the next 2 weeks. No. But I am. I know when I do sit down to watch it, I'll probably enjoy it. Does that make sense?
Before we got on, you and I, we were talking about sort of frames of reference. Our frame of reference in terms of movies is sort of 80s, 90s, and that's
right.
the sensibility that permeates the show. And then you got people younger than us who obviously they're much more 90s, 2000s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Fast and Furious, the franchise, is very much, I think, aimed at 2000s kids.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not aimed at. Aimed at is wrong, but it really like it's important to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because I do enjoy them. I think they're getting a little samey.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying anything like revelatory right now, but I enjoy them. They're like a fun flavor every now and then. But yeah, I just when we get back, I do look forward to seeing the shenanigans they get up to. But I don't feel like I gotta know what happens next.
I mean, as we record this, it's the 24th. The first movie, The Fast and the Furious, came out 20 years ago, 2 days ago. 20
wow.
years, right?
Okay.
And when you frame it that way, you're like, well, this is, I mean, it's your individual opinions about the specific entries almost doesn't matter because you're looking at the totality of the thing, right?
Yeah, and you can almost see like a little map of what movies have been like over 2 decades, right? Where it started as this, boots on the ground LA story, right? And now we have like rocket booster cars and they look like Marvel movies, right?
I mean, again, the first movie, first of all, it's very funny because my son, my oldest, he's like, what was the first one called? I was like, oh, it's The Fast and the Furious. He's like, it's not called Fast and Furious. I'm like, no, there's the, and he's like, why are there so many thes in there? I'm like, I'm like, we cared about definite articles back then. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a different time.
It was a different time, a simpler time. But I mean, the plot of the first movie is, hey, let's steal some DVD players.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. But the interesting, because I've said this before when we've talked about previous entries, but I mean, I see it in my students. For them, this is they've grown up with it.
Mm.
But here's the thing that's interesting to me is movie 1 comes out in 2001, right? And then they do 2, like not even really sequels. They're almost like spin-offs.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got Too Fast, Too Furious. You got the Tokyo Drift one, right? And then here's my point. And then they come back in what was it, 2009, with hey, everybody's back, like,
Right.
So it's like the legacy sequel. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's
sure.
the true sequel that we never got to the first movie,
Right.
and it made it like an event. And the thought I had was like, let's say they didn't do that. Let's say they just did a straight sequel to the Fast and Furious.
With
Would it, like Vin Diesel, everybody
Brian
comes back,
and Dom.
and Mia and the whole
Right.
everybody. Would the franchise have lasted as long?
It's so funny you say this. We were talking about this off mic, and I was listening to this podcast called Blank Check, and they did a whole episode about Too Fast, Too Furious. So this whole, I've actually just listened to this whole conversation. I've had other people talking about it.
This is unprompted.
No, yeah. So it's really funny. But yeah, I mean, the argument could be made that there's no way we would be here. Like their argument was you would have the sequel. Well, you have to look at what the filmmakers were wanting to do, which was Vin Diesel was very much the person who, I mean, say what you want, but like he was the one who was like, this has to be about family. And that's become sort of the joke now, but I don't think these movies would be what they are if they didn't have that at its core. And the sequel that they had first pitched to Vin Diesel was, now it's just you two out solving crimes. And he was like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So he left. So, that's a whole different path. And I don't know that you could get to this point now where every movie ends with them at a cookout and we enjoy seeing everyone together if they had done that sequel with Vin Diesel, right? It's like you had to have this circuitous sort of, right, pivoting and correcting and whatnot that they've done to get,
which is weird because when it comes to things Vin Diesel says, you have to sort of separate what he says from the legend he is in his own mind.
He's manifesting, right?
Like, because he gave an interview, I don't know if you saw this, he gave an interview to, I think it was Men's Health magazine, where he was talking about the feud with Dwayne Johnson. Did you see this?
Yes, yeah.
And we've on this show, we've talked about that from Dwayne Johnson's perspective, where he's like, we reached an understanding, and let's just leave it at that. Like,
bygones be bygones. Yeah.
I think he even said like, like we're friends now. Well, let's not say we're friends. We have an understanding. It's something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was something like little tension.
Right.
But Vin per Vin, he says this is him talking about the character of Hobbs, right?
Okay.
And basically his contention is, well, I had to kind of push Dwayne Johnson around to get him to be able to play this character. Right? He calls it "quote unquote" tough love. He says it was a tough character to embody, the Hobbs character. As a producer, to say, okay, we're going to take Dwayne Johnson, who's associated with wrestling, and we're going to force this cinematic world audience members to regard his character as someone that they don't know. Hobbs hits you like a ton of bricks. I'm like, okay, couple things here. First of all, Laurence Olivier, like, the fact that you're going to be the guy who's giving tough love to Dwayne Johnson. Number two, what was it, 2011 when he played Hobbs for the first time?
Okay.
So, I mean, Dwayne Johnson had been acting.
Oh, yeah. He's not some wrestler he molded into,
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, an actor.
So I'm like, don't you just picture Dwayne Johnson reading that quote and just punching a wall?
Totally.
My point is this. I give Vin Diesel props because I don't think the franchise would exist without him. I think that's a fair. I also think in his mind, this is the most important series ever made.
I think he said as much, right? Where he thought the Dom and Letty thing was the greatest love story in cinema history or something.
They dropped an honest trailer for the first movie, and I think it's yesterday. And the way they describe it is, they're talking about what it was, and like before it became the GED MCU.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, that's what this is. It's the GED MCU, and that's fine. I'm on board.
Right. Oh no, me too. You know what? But at the same time, I can go both ways. I can sort of laugh at Vin Diesel, but I can also be like, he wanted to be the master of his own destiny, and he did it. right? Like he
Very
made
true.
a short film that he wrote, directed, and starred in, and it was like, I'm going to be a superstar. And then Steven Spielberg sees it, puts him in Saving Private Ryan. So the dude right off the bat's working with Steven Spielberg. And then he gets this Fast and Furious movie, the first one, and he again, who knows who's writing the history here, but he seemed to push on that to get it to the version that the hallmarks that we tend to love and continue to get repeated throughout seem to have come from him. And he didn't come back when they didn't do it, and then he did come back, and now we're on 9 movies with 2 more to come. Like, and on the side, he kept leveraging the success of Fast and the Furious to do his like nerdy, like sci-fi movies that don't do very well, but he wants to do them, and by gum, he did them. Like, I was actually thinking about this, like, you go, Vin. Like, you did it. You did it. I mean, people, you can't take that away from him.
Well, there you go. That is our non-spoiler, non-watched conversation about F9.
Yeah.
Moving on, you talked about being a master of destiny. How about being a master of something else?
Well, just because we've recorded a couple episodes out of order that have gotten banked, I don't know which conversations have actually happened and which are about to happen. So this is awkward, guys.
This is like the end of Interstellar, where just time is just wrapped up.
Yes, and I'm shouting through the bookcase right now. But you had mentioned the movie Masters of the Universe a couple times, specifically saying, we have these movies that we see at a certain age and they get locked in, like they imprint on us. Right. And so even when you watch them as an adult, when you can see the sword is made of tinfoil, you're like, yeah, well, you make up your own reason why that's happening, because this movie for you is just,
it's not tinfoil. It is Eternian steel.
Exactly. Like you can write everything off because you are buying this. And, so I was like, Masters of the Universe. I loved He-Man, the cartoon, when I was a kid, and I don't think I've ever seen the movie all the way through.
I am amazed by that.
Somehow,
not because it's amazing, but just because we're the same age. It feels like that would have happened at some point in the last 40 years.
Yeah, you would think so. And when it came out, I was 7, and I think I was still too young for my parents, like just to see whatever I wanted.
Sure.
Like I was a little at the whim of my parents, and I'm sure they're like, yeah, we'll go see something else. But I do remember, by the way, there was like some sort of Muppets magazine back in the day, and I'll never forget this centerfold of He-Man dressed up like a poster of him, like Dolph Lundgren in Masters of the Universe. And even as like a 7 or 8 year old, I was like, now that's hilarious. With his long green limbs and like, hey, with like a sword.
So it's Kermit. It's not a drawing. It's like the puppet.
No, it's the puppet. Yeah. As Dolph Lundgren from Masters of the Universe. Funny. And I thought that was hilarious. But I mean, it's been on probably WGN TV on Saturdays, and I caught little dribs and drabs. But anyway, it was on cable the other night, and I was like, okay.
I am so fascinated to hear.
Well, no, but then I was like, okay, I'm not even going to like pop in. I've done this before. I've got to watch this from the beginning. So as people know, Zachy and I share. I leech off of Zachy's Voodoo account. So I went into your Voodoo account and I started it from the beginning. And this is one of those things that actually reminds me a little bit of our conversation about Super Mario Brothers recently, where I actually really dug the aesthetic of it.
Right.
Because there's a scene, I was actually thinking this about saying this to you. There's a scene where basically Eternia comes to this like California suburban main street.
Right.
So you see these
like a portal opens and
exactly.
Like
and so
procession.
Yeah. And you see like a music shop and you see a little diner and a bar, and it looks like, your neighborhood. But then there's this huge sort of hovercraft with Skeletor on it and these robot soldiers. And I was like, this is so my bag. like just seeing that in my neighborhood is just always really, really done it for me. So I didn't hate the angle that I think some people complain about, which is that, I guess probably due to budget, they couldn't create a whole fictional universe. They had to bring the fictional characters into our universe because it was cheaper to make. That I kind of enjoyed. But how do it's
don't,
very
you don't have to spare my feelings.
no
about
no.
the
I mean,
movie,
it's
Brian.
I'm trying to.
Let's be clear.
It's not even about that. Like, I feel like I need to be kind to the movie. It's like, here's the problem. If He-Man is He-Man, like he's the centerpiece, he's the hero.
Yeah.
He feels like a third tier character in his own movie.
Right.
But it's so weird because the movie doesn't introduce us to He-Man. We're almost introduced to these other characters, and he's just this cool friend of theirs. Right. And then even at the end, when he's saying goodbye to Courtney Cox and she's like, I'll miss you, He-Man. I was like, when did you guys ever really bond? Like, so as like a whole, it feels very, like I can see all the Scotch tape holding together what they were able to accomplish in the dates they had to shoot. You know what I mean? But it was a lot of fun to look at, but I didn't feel much for it, or I didn't feel any of the thread, and I didn't.
Well, to the specific point you're making about, I think the movie had to somehow work around the fact that as actors go, Dolph Lundgren, circa 1987, he's no Vin Diesel. Let's put it.
Yes, but my gosh, does he look perfect?
Yes.
I mean, he looks like He-Man. He is He-Man. So that was kind of it's like you almost wish it had started on him, and who is this guy, and what does this mean to him? And these people look up to him, and they're looking to him to save their world. And okay, I'll do what I can. There's like none of that. Like, and they have this sorceress that they're all kind of in love with, but we're not even really introduced to her. She's already this prisoner who's
this is a movie. This is a movie that presupposes. Sorry. Yeah, I mean it's presupposing that if you are watching, you own the backpack, and you've got the lunchbox, and every weekday afternoon you watch the cartoon. Like it assumes you're pre-sold.
You know what? I had that very thought. This feels like episode 74. Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is the equivalent of, I don't know if you remember, in the 90s they had the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I'm sure you haven't seen.
No, I remember. Yeah.
You know who played the villain in that, by the way?
No.
It was Belloc.
Really?
Yeah, he's Ivan Ooze is the villain, and he's played by I forget the actor's name, but the guy played
Paul something. Yeah. Wow.
Paul something, right?
Yeah, that's
Paul Freeman.
Yes, Paul Freeman. Yeah.
Anyway, so that movie. Now, I didn't go to the theater to see that, but during the 90s, my mom used to babysit kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every afternoon they would watch Power Rangers, and then when this movie came out on VHS, they brought it over.
Mm-hmm.
And so I watched, I was like in and out, but that was my thought watching. I was like, good luck to anybody who doesn't know all this stuff. Like,
yeah.
It just drops you into it,
Right.
And to some extent, that's what the Masters of the Universe movie did. And I would argue, not necessarily wrongly, given how ubiquitous the franchise was.
Right.
Back then, right? But it is a head scratcher because it's, as you say, I mean, they had this was expensive by like Canon Pictures standards, right? It like bankrupted the company, but it looks like when you watch it now, it looks like they had like $13 to make this thing.
Yeah, it almost feels like maybe they had a script and then they took a marker and they're like, here's what we can actually shoot. Right. Yeah. And then they put it together as best they could.
No floating magician guy. No. Yeah. Right. It's just all the, I think you reacting to it as an adult in 2021 are reacting to it probably the only rational way an adult. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be like, oh my God, what have I missed out on? No, you didn't miss out on anything. That's what this movie is,
Yeah, but it did. I like what I was saying again about Super Mario and something else I just watched recently that I don't recall. But I do like going back to these older films and seeing when they had less, support from computers and whatnot, and they just had to build the darn thing, or they had to, come up with creative whatever. And I think in some ways it holds this movie back, but in other ways, like I said, I mean, it was really cool watching those otherworldly creatures or whatnot walking down this suburban street. Like that's fun to me. So I did enjoy watching it, but I don't think I would recommend it to people who are unsure if they should watch it.
If you're coming in cold, just do not enter. I will say, I mean, whenever I happen to come across it on television or whatever, I sort of marvel at Frank Langella's performance.
Oh man, he's going for it.
That's what I'm saying, man. He is not embarrassed to be wearing this bad skull mask that doesn't even really look like a skull. I don't know what it looks like. He's just like, no, I'm doing Shakespeare over here.
You know what? He's really cool in the movie. I mean, I as wonky as his face looks now to 2021 eyes, it's still unnerving, right? Which I kind of liked.
Yes,
like you wouldn't want to face that person. It's uncomfortable. But like he was cool. And Meg Foster, is that her name?
Yes, Evil Lynn.
Evil Lynn, I liked her.
Langella has this line, I think it's near the end, right, where he's like, "Tell me about the loneliness of good, He-Man. Is it equal to the loneliness of evil?"
Yes.
I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but
I know, it sounds good.
I 100% co-sign whatever you're doing, Mr. Langella.
Yes, that jumped out at me too, where I was actually trying to do the math of what he was saying. Like, wait, but I was like, you know what? I like it. Like, that's what I want to hear Skeletor saying, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's totally, it's one of those things where for me personally, because I saw this in the theater summer of '87. So I was 7 going on 8 years old, and I was visiting Edmonton. And so I was 7, my brother would have been 12. And my uncle, he took us to the movie theater, which was in the big shopping mall over there. He just dropped us off, and then he picked us up in 2 hours. And so, I was telling my kids that, oh yeah, dropped us off. And they're like, they just like dropped you at the movie theater? You were 7? And I was like, thinking back, I was like, was that bad? Like, I don't even...
I know.
Because I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be like, all right, kids, see you in 2 hours, right?
I know. I don't know anymore. I mean, obviously, we went everywhere on our bikes, right? Like,
right.
I don't know if the times were different or if we just didn't know any better. Or I don't know.
I can't divorce my feelings from that time from what I think of the movie. I mean, objectively, I know it is whatever it is, but I'm just a kid again. Whenever I watch it. That being said, as you mentioned, I think the production design, given what they had to work with, I think is actually very impressive.
I agree. Even the temple or throne room or whatever it is pretty impressive.
I think so. I think the costumes and all that, to me anyway, feel like a pretty decent translation of that the world of the cartoon.
Totally agree. Like I said, I mean, He-Man looked fantastic. I mean,
he looks like He-Man.
He looks like He-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the other thing I was going to point out? There was you just made me think of something. Oh yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like when we have movies that we loved as kids, you'll always watch it as the kid you were, I think, when you first saw it, or at least be able to see it through those glasses. But there's like a part in the middle, right, where Courtney Cox's character's seashells or whatever. Courtney Cox's character, her parents have passed away, right?
Right.
And then in the middle of this like shootout, her mom's like, "Hey, over here." And she's like, "Hey, Mom." And I'm like, "What are you doing?" Like, I can almost picture though being 7 and going, "No, don't go that." Like it feels like for a children's audience to be ahead of it and want her to not go over to what is clearly the bad guy in disguise.
Yeah. Things that actually was the first time I saw James Tolkien, because I saw that movie before Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, yeah.
So to me, I always think of him as Mr. Strickland second.
Oh, that's funny. Wow.
He's Lubig.
Yeah. Wow, that's hilarious.
And he's really good in this movie, by the way. He's playing his character. He's playing the James Tolkien character.
Totally. He's another one who he's like, "Hey, you paid me to do a job. I'm going to do it."
Right.
I love it at the end too, when he's like got a little mini throne at the end and this like beautiful wife, and they're like, "So you're not coming back to Earth?" He's like, "Why would I?" That was really funny.
The other thing I'll say is the score by Bill Conti. I think is very good.
Yeah, totally.
It's Bill Conti trying very hard to evoke Star Wars.
Absolutely. I mean, the movie, it feels like, is too. I mean, you've basically got your black armored stormtroopers and laser guns. And
one of my memories, again, I'm 7 years old. I'm in the theater watching this thing, and there's a kid who's in the theater with us. And if I'm 7, he must be at least several years younger. And he just goes, "He-Man is the bestest man." and that's who the movie's aimed at.
Yep. I love that you remember that all these years later.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. At 7, I was old enough to know that I'm slightly too old for this movie. Weird, right?
That's really funny.
So anyway, that is your experience mastering Masters of the Universe.
Yeah. I'm glad I got to check it out, because now I will be able to track all your references and
yes, all my multitudinous Masters of the Universe the motion picture references that I make.
And for the record, I thought his sword looked pretty good.
I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else, Brian?
Man, where to begin? I guess let's stay in this arena. Listeners of Movie Film Podcast, much has been made of the gaps in my film viewing life, basically. And so I decided I needed to fix that. I needed to plug one of those holes in my sinking film ship. Not to drag it out any further, I finally watched Highlander.
Go on.
I did it. People have been sending me messages. Zaki's been telling me for years that I should watch this movie. I finally was like, I'm doing it. And I think what happened, I might have mentioned this on an episode, Highlander 3 was on cable. And I was like, okay. It was enough to remind me when I'm not in front of a microphone talking to you that I needed to watch this movie. And queued it up on our shared mutual Voodoo account. No. I really like this movie, actually, but wow. Unlike Masters of the Universe, like I could see, gosh, this is a really hard movie to explain my feelings on, because I did, through 2021 eyes, it did require a bit more squinting than some movies from the past require.
Sure. Because
this movie is a lot. Like, this movie's got a lot going on. Like, they spared no idea, right, in this movie. And some of it feels natural and it flows, and some of it feels really like, whoa, dang. And
we're doing what now?
Yeah, kinda. But overall, I really did enjoy seeing it, because I've never seen this story before, and that was kind of fascinating to watch unfold. There was a sequence pretty early in the beginning where they're introducing the concept of these Highlanders, which are people from,
well, they are immortals.
Right.
Only the main character is a Highlander.
Oh, forgive me. Yes. Okay. The immortals. So from way back, right, in history, and then you have two of these immortals then squaring off in modern day, 1980, whatever.
Well, we start with, from the dawn of time we came, moving silently down through the centuries. You have Sean Connery explaining it all in a way that makes not a lick of sense.
Right. Well, it is kind of crazy. I don't know. None of the questions bothered me, to be honest. But you got these two immortals. We know they've been around for centuries, and they're in this parking garage. And, one of them's wearing a trench coat and jeans and sneakers, and the other one's dressed like a businessman. And then they pull out these swords, and they're flipping around, doing backflips, jumping off of cars, with these neon, or what do you call them, like the halogen lights or whatever those are called.
Yep.
And I was like, this is awesome. Like, I love this. And then, then the police coming in. I love the whole idea of they're very old, but you got the modern day cops trying to figure out what the heck is going on with this metal. This metal doesn't make any sense that we traced, from the swords and whatnot. And then, you're doing these flashbacks to how he was ostracized, the Christopher Lambert character, because they thought he was like a witch or a devil or something because he was immortal. And so he goes and meets a woman, and then a Spaniard played by Sean Connery He's like, I hail from Spain, you know, like.
My name is Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez.
Yes, exactly.
That's from memory, Brian. From
Well,
memory.
it's really impressive.
Yeah.
But I was like, why can't you just make it from Scotland? I mean, it just. But
I should point out, I don't know most of my kids' middle names, but I can tell you, he was Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez.
But he explains everything that's going on, and I mean, gosh, this is just turning into a recap of the movie. But what I really enjoyed was, I mean, he was a fun sort of mentor character. He's in the movie a lot less than I expected, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he has this crazy fight at a castle with the Clancy Brown character, who's the big bad, who's so great, by the way.
He's excellent.
Yeah. I mean, I know him first from Shawshank Redemption, of course.
Oh,
and then
right.
anything else he's in, I'm like, oh, it's that guy from Shawshank Redemption, even though he's such a great actor and he's Mr. Krabs and, whatever.
See, to me, he's the Kurgan first.
See, that's funny. But he has this sort of his eyes kind of bulge, and he has sort of a slightly unhinged look to him in this movie, which really suits the character and makes him really scary whenever you encounter him, because he's going to be more powerful than almost anyone he encounters. And
Right.
So he's a really intimidating, fun bad guy. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, and then I mean, like, his secretary is like this girl he rescued from World War II, and now she's this older woman in the 80s. I was like, that's fun. Like, then there's like this, what is she? She's like a historian or something, or journalist, or the character that he ends up having sex with. That I was like,
which is really, that's her role in the film.
It is. And so it was funny because, they're having dinner together to basically, all right, let's talk. And then like 2 minutes later, they're having sex. And I was like, wait, what? Like,
that's how they did it in the 80s.
That's kind of true. And it's like, sort of graphic, sort of sex scene. I was like, oh, like, it almost feels like they had a checklist of things they wanted in the film. And they're like, well, I guess this would have to go here. This, and this would go, like, it's like that. It's like bursting at the seams with stuff. But it's super original. I thought the direction was actually really interesting. The photography. I mean, this is a person who I saw a criticism of it, actually, was that it had too much style. But I was like, I don't know. He was going for something, and I was actually really impressed with a lot of the angles and the sweeping camera moves. And
I think that's another movie that they were clearly limited by the technology of the time or whatever, but
sure.
Like, I mean, it does something stylistically where here we are, whatever it is, 35 years later, and it's worth talking about, at least,
I think so. Yeah. I realize I'm being like completely unorganized in my thoughts here. I didn't write them down. They're just sort of bursting out of me willy nilly, but like, yeah, I mean, it's so original, and just the whole jumping back and forth from time and watching him not age, but the woman he loves age. And that could be its own movie. Right. And then the whole bad guy through history, and there can be only one, that's a whole movie. And him, there's just so much going on in it. That occasionally I would chuckle a little bit and be like, wow, like there's just a lot, but at the same time, that's what kind of made it fun,
Yeah, it's. I mean, for those of you listening, I'm sure many of you are like past Brian in your knowledge of this, but the movie did well enough on a cult level that they came back a couple of years later and did a sequel, which basically ignores everything about the first movie. And I mean, because I think what makes the movie work is how much it leaves unsaid.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's very clever, because the mythology, they give you what you need to get you through the story.
Mm-hmm.
They give you the rules, and they set up the scenario, and they send you on your way. But one thing the first movie does not do smartly is, here's why immortals exist.
Right.
There's no, it started here. It doesn't do any of that. It's just like, here's what's going on. There's a bunch of us that are all fighting in the background of history. And eventually it's going to get whittled down to one. Those are the rules. Off you go. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so what the second movie attempted to do was to explain it, and they did it in a real cockamamie, ridiculous way. And it ended up being just awful. And then they kept going with various movies that are all terrible. Right. And the reason is the movie ends, and that's the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? You don't need to go even one frame past the ending.
Right.
And so there's many lessons there about sort of trying to turn something into a franchise that isn't really built that way.
Mm.
But I agree with you. I think, and it's been a little while since I've seen it, but I think when I think of the movie, that what sticks out to me is like it's the songs by Queen.
Yeah, yeah.
Which that in and of itself is kind of interesting to me because Queen, they did like Flash Gordon and this, like they didn't do a ton of movies.
Right.
And so I'm always like, what was it about this that spoke to them,
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a great score, speaking of music, by Michael Kamen.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think Christopher Lambert is a really interesting actor to occupy the center of this movie.
I agree with that. Interesting. I mean, there are moments where you're almost not sure he knows what he's saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then he's also like someone you can't take your eyes off of.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's at the very least compelling.
Well, there we go. Look at that.
We did it. I did
Brian's
it. Yeah.
Brian's 1986-87 in review.
Yeah. Yeah. That, I mean, I again, going back to what I was saying about Masters of the Universe, I don't know people who can't squint at older films. I don't know that this is going to work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it might fall apart a little bit. It's rough edges, but, like I say, I mean, it's bursting at the seams and I totally admired it. And it was really fun to look at.
In the 90s, there was a television series,
right?
A Highlander television series, and that was my introduction to this whole thing.
Oh, okay.
So I backed into the movie, and I had to watch it with the context of this television series existing. And I like the television series. I think I still like it. I think it holds up.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie is very much an artifact of like 1986. This is what we were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anywho, go on.
And then lastly, I mean, is it even worth talking about movies from this decade? I don't know.
Out of necessity, I suppose we should. Right?
I guess to stay relevant. I watched In the Heights. I watched it the weekend it came out, actually. We just haven't had a chance to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, this is the sort of much hyped Lin-Manuel Miranda big screen. This was always going to come before Hamilton, the version that was filmed from stage, right? I mean, that was going to come out this October, I believe.
That's right. Wow.
Right? And then they gave it sort of as a gift last near 4th of July on Disney Plus.
Yeah, wow. I totally forgot about that, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it's weird. It's kind of sad that I almost feel like I have to start talking about this with people's reactions to it, which has been kind of disappointment, at least in its performance.
Okay.
And just coming from that point of view, I can understand why this movie didn't perform like people thought it might, because I think they were putting a lot on it.
Sure.
In terms of, Lin-Manuel Miranda, we all love him, right? And it's like, I think a lot of people in certain circles do, but I think a lot of people know Hamilton, but they may not know him. And also musicals don't tend to be blockbusters. Occasionally, right? Like you'll have some weird anomaly like the Greatest Showman, or you'll have your, I can't even think, but like, they tend to cater to an audience and then break out of that slightly. Well,
and I mean, under normal circumstances, who's to say how this would have done, right? There's also that.
There's a lot. Like, yeah, I still don't think this would have ever performed like some sort of like $70 million opening or something. Mm-hmm. But also it was on HBO Max, which is how I watched it. But I knew nothing about this. I didn't know any of the songs. I didn't know what it was about. I just knew this was from Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I was curious to hear more from him because I like Hamilton a lot. And I liked the music he did for Moana and all those sorts of things. And I enjoyed it. I'd say it was good. There was something about it, to paraphrase what I had heard someone else say, because it was so accurate. It was like, I always felt at a distance with it. Okay. So as much as I wanted everyone to succeed, I didn't find myself wrapped up in their ups and downs either. I was just sort of observing them. And I'm not.
Maybe sort of lay out the basic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, I mean, basically, it's it's like kind of a day in the life. Well, actually,
it's just like this neighborhood, right?
Yeah, it's in the neighborhood, and all the people who occupy this neighborhood and their dreams, and they all have these different dreams. And
would it have helped if it started with Sean Connery saying "From the dawn of time, moving silently down through the centuries"?
I think it might have, but no, I liked everybody. I mean, I liked Anthony Ramos plays like the lead, and he wants to go open up this sort of like shop or whatever in Dominican Republic, and you got you got a girl who came back from Stanford.
Smits is in there. Jimmy Smits is in there for good.
Yeah, and he's sacrificing to try to get his daughter through Stanford, but she doesn't want to go to Stanford for reasons, and just all. But no, I mean, it's just you've got all these threads, sort of day in the lifey kind of a thing.
Yeah,
and it's like the struggles, but also the optimism. The community. Yeah. And they support each other. They know each other. You have like this grandmother figure who's sort of adopted a lot of the younger people as her sort of grandchildren that she looks after and dispenses wisdom to, and that's really sweet. And the songs are really good. I would say I don't remember the songs afterwards, but I will say that John M. Chu, who directed it, I mean, wow. Like there's like a whole song at a public pool, which is just nuts. Sort of like Busby Berkeley, overhead shots of people swimming around in circles and using inner tubes and splashing water. And I mean, it's a spectacle. I mean, a lot of these musical numbers are just outright spectacle and they're really fun. But I think at the end, I did actually find myself checking the time a couple times.
Okay.
And so they were sort of like a collection of great moments for me rather than like a whole cohesive movie that I enjoyed overall. But I think if that's your bag, like if you like great music and you like watching the spectacle of a musical and like a really talented visualist director, I think there's definitely something worth checking out here. But at the end of the day, I thought it was, as a whole, like it was fine.
Okay, that's kind of along the lines of what I've been hearing.
Yeah,
like it's solid, but maybe not, exceptional.
Yeah, and I can't quite put my finger on why. I haven't given it a ton of thought either, but. Everybody shows up. Everybody does a good job. It's nice to see Corey Hawkins. I like him a lot.
I like him. Yeah,
Straight Outta Compton. He did a 24 season. But yeah. So it's there. It's on HBO Max.
It is, and I agree with you that HBO Max may have actually played a role in sort of undercutting the specialness of it.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, I will say. I'm going to go back to theaters. I'm vaccinated now. I do feel comfortable about it. My fiance and I are waiting because we want to go together once we're finally together, and then we'll kick that off.
Yeah.
But I will say there was something kind of cool about like, oh wow, this big new movie is like in my house now. So it wasn't like a concession. It was kind of cool on a Friday night. I could get a bowl of ice cream and sit down and just beam this movie in my place.
Well, it is on HBO Max until July 10th. So for those of you listening who would want to watch it, the clock is ticking. So
bear
that in mind. You got about 2 weeks.
Yeah, and if you check it out, I'd really love to know what you think. I'm very curious.
I'm hoping to. I wanted to watch it with my wife, but yeah, we've had a struggle trying to find any time to watch stuff together. But hopefully so. All right, Brian, here's what I saw.
All right.
I've seen nothing new. I've gone solely into the archives.
Look at that. We're looking back these days, aren't we?
Well, my kids are on summer break, and so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to continue my journey through these like older movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talked about Con Air last time, remember?
Yep.
And so I was like, all right, well, we're doing this. And so I was like, summer of '97. What else was summer of '97? Air Force One.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not seen. It's been probably 20 years since I've seen this.
Same. Whenever it was out, I probably saw it. I saw it in the theater, and I probably saw it once on video.
I think that was me also. Yeah. So this is summer of '97 was special for me because that was after I graduated high school. So
okay.
I have very distinct memories of the action movies from that summer. But Air Force One was one of those like, my older ones. I've been trying to go into like the R-rated action movie archives a little bit, and so this, I mean, I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's great necessarily, but it doesn't need to be great. You know what I mean? It's one of those. It's like you watch the movie to see Harrison Ford kicking ass as the president.
Yep.
And it is so diehard on A.
Oh, really?
For those of you listening who maybe don't remember this, but the 90s was replete with that. It was Mad Libs, diehard on A.
On a bus, Air Force One,
on a plane, on a train, you name it. And so this was the ultimate expression of that. What if it's Die Hard on the president's plane, and the president is the one trying to escape the terrorists? I mean, as an elevator pitch, it's pretty good. And who better from that specific historic moment than Harrison Ford to embody that role at that moment?
Totally.
Like my understanding is they had offered it to Kevin Costner first. And I love Kevin Costner, but can you imagine him in that role as portrayed?
It would be a different energy.
It was very different energy.
Yeah.
But Harrison Ford did exactly what was expected. He knew the assignment, so to speak. And so that was a lot of fun to watch. And then from there, we segued into Sneakers, which you had sort of opened the door to me to revisit. A couple months ago. Shot in and around the Bay Area, by the way, just all over the place.
Right. I mean, did your family recognize?
I mean, there's one point where they're on the Dumbarton Bridge, which is about 5 miles from where I live. And my kids are excited. I'm like, yeah, if you go this right, that's where we are.
Is that where they thought the garden party was?
That's exactly right. Yeah, they go over the bridge, and yeah.
Wow,
so
cool.
all of that would be somewhere like in my neighborhood. Anyway, this is another one. I mean, in the 90s was the last time I saw it.
Oh, wow.
So it was virtually a fresh experience for me. But you've said this before. There's just something about watching a heist movie.
I know.
Like, well, it's gonna all work out.
Yep.
But the fun is the every close call, and
it's also the security system, like how inventive they can get with a security system. And there's this sequence at the end where basically it's like it's at this certain temperature, so we gotta so we've got to raise it to a human temperature so a human can be in there. And not only that, but you can't walk faster than this amount of time. So there's something, I'm trying to think of other examples, but there's something I love about a slow speed chase when the movie makes it feel like a high speed chase, and it's like he's moving so slow, but the music is like, you're like, oh, come on. It's so thrilling.
It's so of that era, and I think both of these films have that in common. And that connects into the third movie that I watched, which was Ocean's 11.
Oh, perfect.
We were like feeling like in heist movie mode, so so we decided to do Oceans, and we'll do the second and third one at some point. But the thought I had is like, these are, all three of them are such movie star movies,
right?
And they just don't make them like that anymore. I mean, granted, Ocean's 11 is sort of like the Avengers of movie stars, where you just put everybody together.
Yeah.
But let's be real, it is all held up on George Clooney's shoulders,
right.
And and I've said this before, during my ER watch, I'm like, the guy is just a star. He is, you enjoy watching him act, and Harrison Ford, especially 1997 Harrison Ford, arguably Air Force One is kind of his like last out and out smash hit.
Right.
And if you remember, Harrison Ford circa 1997 was so big that, that summer 97, the Titanic was supposed to come out. Do you remember that?
I'd kind of forgotten, to be honest. I know it came that Christmas, but yeah.
It ended up getting pushed because of various things, but it was scheduled for summer, scheduled for the same weekend as Air Force One.
Oh.
This is a Columbia movie. So Harrison Ford calls up the president of Paramount and is like, I want you to move it. And they did.
Wow.
That's how much power Harrison Ford had.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm releasing my movie with this other studio.
Yeah.
But I've been in movies for you guys, so I want you to move it.
Yeah. Wow.
Like that, right? It's hard to imagine, right?
And Can you imagine Titanic as a summer film, by the way?
I don't think it would have succeeded the way it did.
No. I mean, it would have succeeded, but not like the way that it did.
Not the way it did. I think everything sort of worked out.
I think so too.
And then when we talk about Robert Redford, especially in Sneakers, which is, that's not peak Redford, but it was him. Robert Redford in, the early 90s is like Harrison Ford in the early 2000s.
Yeah, well put.
Right. Like, his star is maybe not as bright as it was, but he's still Robert effing Redford.
Right.
And, I mentioned in our last episode, I just watched The Last Castle.
Right.
With the kids. And so after Sneakers, my 10-year-old's like, hey, are there any other Robert Redford movies?
Wow.
And I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is.
Right? Because, it's just the guy's a star.
Yeah.
You enjoy watching him. You watch him in Sneakers, you're like, this guy he's charismatic. He's got it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, he had it.
Yeah, he exudes effortlessness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's been really, it makes me sad a little bit because I feel like the industry is so far up its own ass in terms of franchises and all that stuff. Which, granted, that's like the lifeblood of this show. It's what we talk about. But it makes you sad because it's like there's no venue other than streaming for these old-fashioned star vehicles.
Yeah.
And that's a shame.
Yeah.
Trying
to even picture who would be in it.
Right. You have like on Netflix, they had like Extraction with Chris Hemsworth, right?
Sure.
And that, in the old days, that would have been a theatrical.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But see, now we're at a point where it's like, well, Hemsworth does Thor in the theaters.
Right. I see. Yeah, sure.
And he does this other shit over there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Or like Charlize and the old guard.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It's like, well, we don't know that comic book. So we'll put that on Netflix.
And I'm like, no, it used to be, well, you showed up because so-and-so is in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know that we have anyone comparable today with that level of luster,
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Even like Tenet, right? Even it's like we show up because it's a Christopher Nolan movie. It doesn't matter who the lead is.
Yeah, really, to that point, arguably Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the few actors like that, right? Today. But the list gets smaller,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a shame. But no, next year is the 25th anniversary of Air Force One, and James Mullins had reached out to us way before, and he was like, "I would love for you guys to do a commentary for that." So I'm definitely, I'd be down to talk through that next year.
Oh yeah, reporting for duty. I would, I would just love to revisit it. It's a good excuse to do that. You know what's funny, by the way? So that is, it's not Tom Clancy. It's like Tom Clancy light. Right? Yeah. Probably the feeling of that movie, or Clancy, like a James Patterson novel or something.
Well, it's like what I've said, right? You had in the 90s, you had John Grisham movies, Tom Clancy movies.
Yes.
Wannabe John Grisham, wannabe Tom Clancy.
Exactly. And my memory of Air Force One is in a bathroom in our house. One of the closets, there was this cup from some fast food restaurant for Air Force One.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, in what universe now with some like, grown up president action movie have a cup from Taco Bell?
That's sort of fascinating to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was like a promo.
Yeah. Like one of those cups that you keep that would normally have Batman on it or something.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hey, let's take a short break and we'll come back and talk through some listener letters. All right, we are back, and here is a letter from Tyler Kloster, who commented on Facebook on our last regular episode. And he says, I enjoyed the discussion of Memoirs of an Invisible Man. That's you, Brian.
I'm glad.
I never knew until Brian brought it up that Chevy Chase wanted it to be more of a straight and serious picture and chafed with Carpenter and the studio, John Carpenter and the studio over it. It reminded me of Eddie Murphy's almost identical experience just a couple years later on Wes Craven's Vampire in Brooklyn. Which, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you have not seen Vampire in Brooklyn.
No, I can picture the VHS case from the video store. That's my memory of it.
Statistically, it would make sense that you have not seen Vampire in Brooklyn because most people have not seen Vampire in Brooklyn. But yeah, that was meant to be like a serious thing. But as soon as you say, "Oh, Eddie Murphy as a vampire,"
yeah, you want to see him crack a little wise, right?
I think this is the problem with comedic actors. Let me rephrase. This is the problem faced by comedic actors is when they want to branch out, they're expected to still remain in their little box.
Right, like Steve Martin, you expect LA Story, but you don't quite anticipate Shop Girl.
That's good. I like that.
Right? But
yeah.
but I think but to his credit though, I think actually Steve Martin does well in those dramas. And it's tough. I think Chevy Chase inherently brings this kind of everyman with a little bit of a comedic slant to him to anything he does, just because his eyes, honestly, whatever he does with his eyes always just kind of has a little bit of a something that makes you kind of chuckle. But I can also understand audience expectations and the way that movie was marketed. If you look at the trailer, they make it look like a comedy.
Yeah, which, like, what else are they going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think he was capable, and I can appreciate the frustration, like you're saying then, for these people that want to try something different. But
well, speaking of Chevy Chase, they're filming the new Fletch reboot, right? With John Hamm.
John Hamm, yeah.
Which, to me, that actually is like a perfect choice.
I agree. From the books, right?
Yeah, like the original conception of the character, which is not outright comedic. He's like a humorous character. He's like a real character who's humorous.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because over the years they've been talking about like Zach Braff and other people, and it felt like they were chasing Chevy. Right? Which that should be a movie, shouldn't it? Chasing Chevy. It's like I don't know what it would be. I see it as either a documentary about trying to get an interview with him or a Being John Malkovich type thing. Either way, somebody listening, get to work on that.
Yeah.
But that to me, I'm like, John Hamm is like, we know how funny he can be. So I can see that. Like that seems like a smart way to go with that, to separate it from Chevy Chase.
Right. I agree.
But this is, I was thinking about how like the one actor who was entirely known for comedy, who was able to seamlessly segue into drama, that comes to mind is Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Like he never had that problem where people were like, oh, I can't take him seriously.
That's a great point. I wonder if it took a moment of calibration during Dead Poets Society.
Yeah, but that
people
wasn't his
were
first
waiting.
Dramatic movie, right? I mean, he was like in World According to Garp and stuff like that.
Well, that's true. But I mean, that's certainly like one of his very memorable dramatic roles.
No, I agree.
But like, I wonder if, how you have this anticipation, like you're just waiting because that energy is inside of them. And so you start chuckling at things that aren't funny because you think that's what they're doing.
Right.
I wonder if it took a moment. I mean, now I only know that movie it's like established and exists as it exists. But I wonder for audiences in '86 or whatever it was, if they're like, oh, okay. And then settled in.
It's, in the 90s, specifically like the late 90s, there was that period where he was doing all these dramatic movies, right? And people were almost like, God, enough with like the tearjerkers, Robin Williams,
Right.
Like, what was it?
Movie?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
God, what was it called?
Something with a W. What Dreams May
Come. Yeah. What Dreams May Come, Jacob the Liar, and Patch Adams, etc. And you sort of think like, obviously now that he's gone, there's an extra level of fondness we have, right, for the films he did. But you wonder, like, maybe he just this was who he was. He just wanted to put emotional movies out there, you know. And you're kind of like, well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he was in. I've told you about this before. He was in a movie in '99, Bicentennial Man.
Yeah, which I have not seen.
Which you've not seen. Well, most people haven't, right? And that was a movie. I remember that all the ads really tried to lean into the comedy, and it really. I mean, it's this. You know, I mean, it has humorous moments, but it's a dramatic sci-fi thing, you know. And I feel like that's an example to me. It was a very tough sell, and that led to it being perceived however it is. But like, how would people think of that now? Now that it's 20 plus years old, Robin Williams is gone. There's something, you know, without all those expectations around it.
I'd like to watch that. That feels like something I might enjoy.
I don't know what
robot movie.
Yeah, I don't know what you would think of it, Brian, but I am very curious to know.
Okay.
Genuinely. Now, me personally, I don't think it's perfect, but I genuinely enjoy it. It makes me emotional whenever I watch it.
Right.
That's me.
Yeah, I can picture it. And I'm sure that's what he brings. He does have this sort of, not applying anything from real life to this, but like he does have this little bit of sadness in all of his characters also that he always tends to bring. I mean, even in Mrs. Doubtfire, right? I mean, those courtroom scenes are heart-wrenching.
Yes.
As goofy as he can be in that movie. So
yeah, it's tough, you know.
Man. Oh, I mean, shoot, Good Will Hunting, right?
Amazing. Such a great. It's crazy to me. I always say this because I screened Good Will Hunting in my classes. I'm like, when that movie came out, I was Will's age.
Oh, wow.
You know, because in the movie he turns 21. Right? That's at the end of the movie, and I was, you know, like 19 when it came out. You know, and now I'm, I'm the Sean character.
Right.
You know, I mean, I look in the mirror and my beard looks like Robin Williams' beard in that movie.
Right. Wow.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, it continues to hold up, right?
Oh, so good. That is a great movie.
It really is. It's, you know, what's funny is I had I have students do their evaluations of my classes, right? And I usually I'm sent the comments and whatever, and usually it's all fine. Like, oh, he was great and whatever. There's one student who goes, let's face it, we're watching a middle-aged man's favorite movies.
You know what I would have done if I was in the room with him? I would have like held my arms out and been like, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault."
I'm like, well, you're not wrong about the favorite movies, but you had to hit me with middle age,
right.
And you realize, well, no, I am middle aged,
right?
That's a little depressing, you know,
right?
It's crazy because I've been teaching long, and if I remember when I started, I was kind of like the young hip teacher.
Right.
You know, when I started teaching, I was like 25.
Yeah, sure.
I was not that much older than my students, you know.
Wow.
Anyway, more depressing news. Here's another listener letter. Now you know, whenever we get a new comment on iTunes, I like to share it. And you know, generally speaking, we've been doing this show for a long time. We've gotten 80 plus 5-star reviews, which is very, very nice.
Yeah.
But I want to be fair, Brian. And so we've received our very first 1-star review. On
this is the
Apple
first one?
Podcast. This is the first ever.
Oh, wow.
1-star review. And it goes as follows. Boring podcast. Does little to differentiate itself from other film review casts. Little insight. Look elsewhere. And as soon as I read that, I picked up my phone and I was like, Dad, you could have just talked to me about this.
Right.
Thought this was unnecessary. But this is our now. This is how I am, Brian. Again, we've been doing this show for 9 years almost.
Yeah,
we've gotten all manner of comments, all kinds of positive reviews. But because I am Zaki Hassan, this is what I know I will obsess over for the next 2 weeks. The one internet rando who finds us to be of little insight.
You know, it's funny. We had kind of different reactions to it. We were talking about it a little bit. And I'm just like, all right, well, good. Like, go find the one you like, like,
Yeah.
Although we were joking off air that it'd be kind of funny if we became like MacGruber with when that car that cuts him off or whatever, and he writes down the license plate and just starts scribbling it everywhere and repeating it to himself. So we start repeating this person's like handle or whatever it is.
So funny.
But hey, you know what? I hope this person finds the one that suits them.
That's what it comes down to. So thank you. Even negative reviews are welcome as long as give us something. Give us something to work on. That's what was disappointing about this.
You know what? That was something we talked about too. I was like, I'd actually like to hear like
what insights do you want?
Yeah.
What define insights? But yeah. So those of you who want to look elsewhere, you're certainly welcome to do so.
Yeah, and I appreciate. There was a time where we were reading out loud the reviews a bit more often, and being fair. We got someone who's this isn't their bag.
It's all good because hey, you know what? The reason we do this show is because we're just kind of shooting the shit, and we would do that whether the mic was on or not.
Yep, exactly.
So thank you, Dad, for that.
Thank you, Zaggy's dad.
It's gonna make dinner tomorrow very awkward. Let's take another break. Come back, talk some trailers. All right, we are back, and hey, we were talking about He-Man earlier in the episode, Brian.
We were, yeah.
Look at that. It's almost as if we planned this.
But we didn't.
This was not planned, yeah.
No.
That's giving us too much credit. If you're looking for shows that are pre-planned, look elsewhere.
Right.
So He-Man...
But you don't need to leave a comment about it.
Yeah. just go quietly.
Yeah.
It's like when people say I'm unfollowing you on Twitter or I'm unfriending you on Facebook. He's like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting actually, and I not teach their own, but yeah, I tend not to leave negative comments unless there's an issue that I want to address. Yeah, right. With like I had a printer recently, just got a new printer, and it doesn't work well. So I did. It wasn't even a comment, but I was like, well, this is worth trying to get resolved or bringing to someone's attention or something. But it wasn't just like, I am dispassionate about your printer. Stuff you should know.
Anyway, so the Netflix has picked up the rights to the He-Man live action movie. You remember that, right? They announced it a while ago.
Oh yeah, this has been happening for so many years that I've lost track of the live action one.
I think by the time the live action movie gets released, you will have to be an immortal from Highlander,
right?
To have any residual goodwill left because they're taking so long. But regardless, they are. This is still Netflix. They are proceeding with an animated sequel, to the original 1980s cartoon. And this is executive produced by Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm. Wait, so this is a sequel. This is connected to the 80s cartoon.
It is a legacy sequel to the old Filmation show.
Okay.
And let's play some of the audio and then we can sort of talk about it.
Hey, Brian here. A couple hours later, editing the show, and as I was about to pull the He-Man trailer to drop into this space, upon rewatching it, it's basically no dialogue and 2.5 minutes of Bonnie Tyler's song "Holding Out for a Hero," and so I thought it might be confusing if I just dropped 30 seconds of that song in this moment. I mean, let's face it, that song's awesome, but I didn't know if it would make any sense. And, on a side note, that song's having a bit of a resurgence lately, isn't it? I mean, it was in that Guardians of the Galaxy video game trailer. It was in a last episode of Loki, He-Man trailer. These are the things I think about. Anyway, back to the show.
All right, so this stars actually a pretty decent cast. You got Mark Hamill as Skeletor, which as soon as you say that, you're like, oh yeah, that.
Yeah,
I can see that. And then you got Sarah Michelle Gellar as Tila, etc. So I'm somebody who I'm like pour this into my veins. That's me. Like as soon as I see this trailer, I'm like, this is the cartoon I saw in my head whenever I watched that old shitty
Oh, that's
Filmation one.
well put. Well put. That's what
Right?
it looked like to us.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
Because if you watch that now, you're like, well, the animation is extremely limited, and
Yeah.
they just reuse the same scenes again and again. And I mean, I like it for what it is, but I mean, it is what it is.
Mhm.
It feels like, and it's interesting because Kevin Smith, he's probably got what, like 10 years on us, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So he would have been in his teens when the toy line was at its peak.
Right.
So I wonder if he has, like, if he's invested in it, that feels kind of weird to me, because if you're in your teens, that feels like you might be too old for it.
I don't know, but I mean, he is obviously a huge nerdy, comic booky, fantasy kind of guy, right? Like, so maybe he just was into it all. I don't know.
Yeah, well, maybe that's a good point. But this is meant to be a little bit more adult. Maybe adult, more mature.
In terms of its storytelling or its content?
No, there's just going to be penises everywhere. just whipping out, waving around, blue, green, whatever.
Hashtag it's about time.
And you know what? That's what I'm looking forward to, frankly. No, but it's meant to exist within the world of that original animated show.
Okay.
So, for me, like, I don't know, He-Man was, like, when I think of the 80s and like kid stuff, He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, that was my holy trinity.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I remember being a little kid, like 3 years old, and I had He-Mans.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first toy line that was like, it was mine. It wasn't my brother's.
Sure.
Right? Because Star Wars, I backed into it because of my brother.
Right.
But He-Man was my thing.
Yeah.
So there's just something about seeing it given sort of like the serious treatment that's very exciting.
Yeah. I wish it was so huge for me as a kid, but I haven't revisited it. I remember the characters, but that's about it. So I don't, it's not like still alive in my heart, so to speak, I suppose. So I will definitely check it out, because even seeing the imagery, it was like, wow, neat. But I'm very curious if it will hook me.
I'm curious if there's an audience for it, Like Netflix, they brought back She-Ra, right?
Yeah.
But they reinvented it. It's for kids, right. And it's, my understanding is it works pretty well. My daughter likes it.
Yeah.
She-Ra. But this is not, I mean, it's aimed at us middle-aged men, per my student. And I'm like,
which, you know what, I'm sorry, you're good.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but speaking earlier about Chris Hemsworth's action movie when he's not Thor is on Netflix. This is the upside of Netflix, right? That you can get a He-Man show aimed at 40-year-olds, because where else are you going to get that?
That's a good point. Very true. It is, this is the, I mean, the original toy line, kind of phased out in the late 80s. They've attempted to bring it back a couple times. So this would be like the third attempt at a revival.
Wow.
So I'm very curious. Like, it's not something that's lasted the same way as, say, Transformers.
No, I wonder why.
Or Ninja Turtles or something. Like Ninja Turtles, it's just...
That never stopped.
It never stops, you know? Yeah, maybe G.I. Joe to some extent, they keep bringing it back. But I think Transformers and Turtles are the ones that really, like, they just transcend.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what it is about... what's funny, actually, is that the show, it drops on Netflix the same day as that G.I. Joe, that Snake Eyes movie.
Oh.
Hits theaters. So you got these two 1980s
yeah, good point.
things, which is, again, that's these two really live in the 80s in a way those other ones don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah.
But I'm curious here. Who else is in the cast? We got Diedrich Bader is in there. Alicia Silverstone, Stephen Root.
Wow, Alicia Silverstone. That's interesting.
Yeah. And who is she playing? Alicia Silverstone. Oh, she's the queen. And Diedrich Bader is the king. Quick, Brian. What is the name of He-Man's father, the king? Oh, Brian.
Him man. I don't know, like him guy.
Him guy. No, it is Randor.
Randor. You know what? Actually, it was emerging in my mind as we were talking about why it hasn't lasted like Ninja Turtles, and I think it's because Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael. Like, I know all their names, I know their colors, I know their personalities. I know, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
with He-Man, I think it was more of a burst of like a world, but I don't know that I feel connected to any of the characters.
You don't feel connected to Clamp Champ and Rio Blast?
You're right, exactly. Like, I remember Orko was cute, but I remember him mostly because I had his toy. Like, you're right.
I think you're right.
Somehow the characters didn't permeate.
It's weird. I don't think kids today can understand how big He-Man was at its peak.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the thing itself, like, I think it's cool, right? But obviously I have nostalgia for it. But it's weird to me that there was just something in the air at that moment that allowed this thing to just really blow up in a way that I don't think it could ever work again in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And there's that Netflix show, the series about the toys.
Yes, Toys That Made Us.
Toys That Made Us, yeah. And they have a He-Man episode, and that was really cool to watch.
Anyway, we've spent a lot of time talking about He-Man in this episode. So it's just a treat, as far as I'm concerned. Here's another movie coming out. This is also going to be on streaming, although not on Netflix. It's going to be on HBO Max and theaters. It is The Suicide Squad. And we talked about the first trailer for this a couple months ago. And I don't remember what your reaction was to that first trailer.
I've said this ever since the first Suicide Squad. I'm just so in love with the concept. Like, I really, really love this Dirty Dozen sort of thing with these super villains who have to work together sort of against their will and will be tested. And like, that's just so ripe to me. And I feel like the first one came close, but it got overstuffed and maybe a little too silly in ways that it shouldn't have. And, you know, with the villain and, you know, it made your eyes cross. There was so much going on when it's like, nah, man, just make it about them and the thing they got to do, you know? And so I think I'm optimistic for another shot at this concept.
Well, let's play some of the audio from this second trailer.
Okay.
And we can talk about it.
Your mission is to destroy every trace of something known only as Project Starfish. Any questions?
Starfish is a slang term for a butthole. Think there's any connection?
No.
No. All right. Let's get it.
So, trailer number 2. How you feeling after this one?
I would say, you know, it seems like they scaled back the comedy a little bit. Yeah. I know it's going to be there with the Harley Quinn character and whoever else, but like they're sort of leaning into the heart angle, right? Which they sort of did with, yeah.
Doesn't it feel like they did sort of like a find replace in the script?
Oh yeah, yes.
Deadshot, Bloodsport.
Right. Daughter, right? You know, or whatever.
They gave him. It's the same backstory.
But you know what? I don't know. I was feeling it. Like, he's got someone he cares about. He's got to do the thing. It works for me. I don't know. And so I'm hoping for the wackiness, you know, that would come with some of the wackier characters. I want to actually care about them getting the thing accomplished. And if that mission feels like something I can understand and care about and have fun watching them do it, I'm in.
First of all, yes, I agree with what you're saying. I think the mix of characters that they've come up with is pretty interesting. A handful of the better ones from the last one are back. But otherwise, it's sort of, it feels like James Gunn just kind of catch can, like whoever he felt like pulling out, you know? Obviously, you put Idris Elba. Idris Elba, by the way, so he's playing Bloodsport, who is a character from the comics. He's not an invention of the movie. And the trailer alludes to, like, he shot Superman with kryptonite bullet. That's his whole deal, right? But you put Idris Elba in there. Me personally, I'm going to be interested at least a little bit because he's just that kind of an actor.
Yeah.
However, yes, there's no mistaking that they really didn't do much to differentiate him, at least in this trailer, from Will Smith as Deadshot.
Yeah. 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 I mean, right down to his outfit, really, even, like.
Like you wonder, like, I get wanting to leave the door open for Will Smith to come back,
Mhm.
but if you make the replacement that similar, it's kind of like, do we need him to come back?
Right.
But when we look at the whole DC movie approach, which is just, I think they're sort of unshackling themselves from attempting to have it all be canon or whatever.
Mhm.
They're just kind of letting each thing be its own thing.
I think that's great.
Right? That's probably like the best way to approach it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we just saw the pictures this week of Michael Keaton. He is filming. It's happening, Brian.
Oh, man, I can't believe I'm going to see Michael Keaton Batman on the big screen again. In something new.
I said this on Twitter. I'm like, we got Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. We got Harrison Ford coming back as Indiana Jones. We got the original Ghostbusters are coming back.
Yeah.
The original Jurassic Park actors are coming back.
Yeah.
To me, this is like somebody's first wish on the monkey's paw.
Right.
I'm uncomfortable with what's around the corner.
With what will be taken from us. Yeah.
Well, partly, I mean, as they start filming Indiana Jones, and then like yesterday they reveal that Harrison Ford like broke his shoulder or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's not good.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, first and foremost, I care about his well-being. And then you also think, I mean, this affects a lot of people and affects the movie and I don't know. It happens, right? And I mean, he is 79 or something, right? Like
so Harrison Ford is the same age as my dad.
Okay.
Same age. And I say this all the time. I'm like, my dad is very spry for his age.
Mm-hmm.
Very active. But you know what? I don't want him getting into fist fights.
Yeah.
Or
hanging
off of tanks and using a bullwhip to swing from anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather my dad not do that. So when I look at Harrison Ford, I'm like, whatever he's doing that's involving his shoulder getting injured, I'm like, maybe your biological clock is telling you something here.
Yeah, and I mean, and there's obviously like no shame in that, right? I mean, for his age, he still looks incredible.
Yes.
And not only that, but they were saying for exercise, right? He's bicycling like 30 miles a day or something insane. I was like, dude, I hope my body's in that great a shape. But at the same time, your body does still have limitations, right?
Yeah.
And so just please, just take care of him, guys. Take care of him. I mean, Temple of Doom, like a third of Temple of Doom isn't even him because he was having back problems on that movie.
Ugh.
So just get creative,
So that's our monkey's paw update.
No. Well, I hope that's it. I hope, and it's something that heals. And remember when they almost like took his foot off on Force Awakens?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, guys, you're going out of your way
to hurt this man.
The man is a goddamn national treasure.
Yeah.
Let's treat him with a little bit of respect. Regardless, anyway. Yes.
Wait, you and Suicide Squad, what are your feelings? What are you...
Yeah, so, sorry, we went off on a little tangent. Look, James Gunn is doing it. I'm interested, I've said before, I love the Suicide Squad comic books.
Mm.
I think it's just legitimately one of the best DC runs ever.
Yeah.
The original run from the 80s. And that run was always very grounded. And that's an aesthetic that neither of these films look, I mean, certainly the first one didn't. This one doesn't look to either really capture, where it's grounded, it's espionage. It's like kind of Mission Impossible-esque, except that it's bad guys,
Right.
That's what I would have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
This is doing something a little different, which is, it's taking the premise and pairing it with James Gunn sensibilities, which are a little bit more waka waka.
Right.
And that's fine, but that's what you're getting. So he offers a very specific flavor that you're either down for or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge this movie is going to have is, who is it aimed at? Like if let me rephrase. Who are the people who made the first film a success?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because the first movie did well,
mm-hmm.
but who did it work for? Did it work for people who really want that dark and gritty kind of whatever that was doing? Because that's not this.
Right.
So then, okay, is it aimed at a wider DC audience? Is there enough of that, or is it aimed at like a general audience that just wants something fun and disposable?
I think you can strike that balance. I feel like we're even seeing it somewhat in the trailer. Right?
I can see a scenario where the movie is better than the first one, but the audience is smaller. So it kind of, that happens sometimes where you have like, you make a better part 2.
Yeah.
But the people who are already burned on part 1 decide not to come back.
Yeah. Like
I could see that happen. Yeah, right. Ninja Turtles.
The most recent.
The Michael Bay produced. Right. A perfect example. And like, Tomb Raider was like that. The Angelina Jolie.
I never saw either of those. The second one is better than the first?
Like objective, who directed it? Jan de Bont directed it.
Yeah, I remember that. I should watch
if
that.
for no other reason than that, it's better.
Yeah.
Because he's better than Simon West.
Sure.
Sorry, Simon West. I'm so sorry.
I was like, ooh, dang.
And like G.I. Joe for me, it was like that, the old, well, it's not that old. It's kind of old. The second one with Bruce Willis. John M. Chu directed that, by the way.
Oh, did he really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember very much about that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the second film was better and sort of truer to that universe, but not as many people watched it because they got burned on the first one. So I could see that happening here.
Well, we'll see. And this is another one of those movies that's going to be the whole in theaters and beamed into your house. So
yeah, August 6th is when this happens. So
you know what though? As cool as that is, I mean, we'll see how I feel that Friday night. Having my bowl of ice cream again. But I think I'd like to see that in theaters.
That feels like a theater movie.
Yeah.
That feels like a theater movie, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's take another short break. Just a couple headlines to talk through. Alrighty, Brian, we're back. And you know what else is back?
What's that?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. This feels like a whole plot to dominate, right? The entertainment landscape with Lord of the Rings again, because we know we're getting this $500 million show on Amazon.
The most expensive TV show ever made is coming to Amazon. So if you're wondering why your order of toilet paper now costs $783, it's because they're trying to pay for the Lord of the Rings TV series.
Live action.
Live action.
Correct.
Unrelated to that is Warner Brothers Animation has a feature animated movie coming, which is called The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. I think you have to say it that way. Rohirrim. Yeah. I feel like we need like we need the music playing in the background whenever I say that. So this is animated. It's not live action.
Theatrical.
It is theatrical and it is Warner Brothers. So distinct from whatever Amazon is doing.
Okay.
And this is meant to exist in the same world as the Peter Jackson movies.
Isn't that kind of fascinating? I know every now and then we get those movies that sort of push through. Was it Demon Slayer? Is that what it's called? The thing
the anime, right?
Anime that came out and it did really well at the box office. But it seems like by and large, animated films are like, Boss Baby or whatever that, studio is, Disney, Pixar, whatever. Right. So it's kind of interesting that we're getting a Lord of the Rings animated movie. That feels very uncommon.
It does, and it feels almost like a lost leader on Warner Brothers, right? It feels like their attempt to sort of continue to have some skin in the game
with Lord of the Rings because they have some sort of ownership of it.
They retain whatever rights they do. I don't know how it works, but clearly, however the rights are divided, I guess they still have animation or something, right? So the film itself is a prequel about Helm's Deep.
Okay.
So, in the second film, they have the big showdown at Helm's Deep.
Yep.
So that place is named for Helm Hammerhand.
Okay.
Helm Hammerhand, which is actually that was my alias when I was briefly on the run from the FBI. It might be why I got caught.
Right.
So he is the legendary King of Rohan, who spent much of his reign locked in a prolonged and costly war. So that's what this is going to be about.
Okay.
Now, I'm all about giving everything a chance. Honestly, this sounds not even a little bit interesting to me.
Agreed.
So
But I am not steeped in this world or mythology or even book series. I mean, the movies came out. I really enjoyed them. I did actually read the books, but I haven't like kind of dug into the lore in the way that I do with Star Wars or something.
Right.
So I need someone to tell me this is good.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I just, as soon as you say anime, you kind of lose me a little bit, and it sounds terrible. And I don't, God, I'm digging myself a grave. I don't mean like I don't like anime. I do, but I'm just like, to me, this world exists in live action.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
So that's how I want to experience it.
Right.
It's hard for me to envision something that makes me feel like those original movies did when it's in an entirely different format.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's, again, I'm happy to be surprised. I mean, if the movie's amazing, I'll say it.
So if The Matrix Part 4 was coming out and it was animated, you wouldn't have the same level of excitement you would as if it was going to be the one we're getting, which is live action with.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
I understand that. Or
But
I'd
again,
have a different expectation.
I mean, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
Before Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out, I was not feeling it at all. Okay. And then I watched it and it blew my hair back.
Right.
So, and it was my favorite movie of 2019. So I'm happy to be surprised.
Totally.
So I want to be very clear about that. But I hear this and I'm kind of, the premise is not hugely interesting to me. And then you say, we're doing animation. I'm like, all right, impress me. That's my philosophy. Now that said, again, the television show that's going to be on Amazon is set several thousands of years before the two trilogies.
Okay.
This is set like 250 years before.
Wow.
Now, to me, that because the television show is unconnected to the films.
Mm-hmm.
However, by virtue of the fact that it's set thousands of years before, it doesn't really need to be connected to the films.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like people are more likely to gravitate to that television show as a prequel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested in that.
Yeah. Oh, I'll definitely check it out. Yeah.
Obviously, Amazon was, and this is, by the way, when is this even due to come out?
The animated one?
Yes. I'm looking at. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Well, if they announce it now, you figure probably 2 years from now. I would not be surprised if it's timed roughly to coincide with the Amazon show.
Yeah.
Right. Now that said, Amazon is hoping for another Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
But Game of Thrones didn't end up really being a Game of Thrones, did it, Brian?
That's true.
Now, Game of Thrones, I think I've said this on the show before, that is the only show I can think of that I experienced entirely through social media.
Right, sure.
So I've not seen a single frame of footage from it that I am able to... Well, that's not true. I'm sure I've seen stuff on YouTube, but nothing I've sought out.
Mm-hmm.
But just by virtue of everyone talking about it, I was aware of every development.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty inescapable for a while.
It was inescapable until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Thanos snapped his fingers and suddenly half the interest in Game of Thrones evaporated.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, every now and then on Reddit, there's some subreddit, I don't remember what it's called, but it's people who are still lamenting all the things that didn't get paid off or turn out well in the HBO series Game of Thrones. And so I just saw one the other day and it was like, why did this happen? this didn't even matter. Like some image that I didn't even remember. But it's just funny. There's still people out there sort of howling at the moon.
See, this is I feel very good about my choice when it came to Game of Thrones, which was as soon as it started, everybody started talking about it, and I was like, this sounds interesting. I'm going to wait until it's done. And if the ending is deemed effective, then I'll go back and watch the whole thing.
Right.
And the pants shitting that began from the moment the finale ended made me gratified that I spared myself whatever it was, 6 years of agony.
Yeah.
You may have been among the pants shitters. I can't remember.
I was, yes, definitely disappointed. I felt like the whole last season didn't feel right. But I don't regret my time with it because it's one of those shows where it is just not my genre. I'm not like a medieval fantasy. I'm really not. Lord of the Rings should not appeal to me. But the characters are so strong, and like the portrayals of just loyalty and friendship and determination are just so palpable in those films that they're irresistible, right? And I think with Game of Thrones, they had some really strong characters. And really strong, like, conflict for them to butt up against and sometimes triumph over, but sometimes be squashed by. And that was really devastating, but you felt it. So I think that was the strength of that show. So, I mean, yeah, it's too bad that it didn't all wrap up in a very satisfying way, but it was good storytelling for a while there.
For a while.
Yeah.
Well, this all only comes out now because first of all, HBO is busy trying to, continue to franchise this thing.
Yeah.
Right. They got various spin-offs in the works, prequels, which I'm very curious to see if there's an audience for this stuff. It seems doubtful to me.
I don't know. I mean, can they get the tarnish off the name?
I don't think I can think of a franchise that just dropped out of the public consciousness as quickly as Game of Thrones did.
It's what doesn't help too is when it becomes almost a shorthand. When you're like Game of Thrones and you're like, oh, right.
Right.
Like that's not good. So, well, you want to get that reclaim its good name.
Now, this is all relevant only in the sense that George R.R. Martin, who of course wrote the novels, has now said, looking back, I wish I'd stayed ahead of the books. Because, he writes at a famously glacial pace.
Right.
And so this is supposed to be how many books is it? Like 5?
I am so not plugged into the book side of these things.
There's like however many books that are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right. And he got X number done and then the show started. And I think he thought, I'll be done by then.
Yeah.
And they weren't. So at some point they reach the end of whatever he's done. And he's like, well, why don't you guys figure it out? I think he like gave him a general sense. Of
I'd heard that. Yeah. And
then they kind of, he gave him like, you know what it's like. I don't know if you remember this, but when we were kids, there were these books like how to draw books where it would be like, here's how you draw Bugs Bunny. And it would be like, first you draw this circle. Then you add another circle. Then, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It would be like multiple steps. And those books sort of implied the presence of a greater skill set in kids than I think was objectively possible.
Sure.
So you'd be like, I don't know how you got from there to there. So I think that's what happened with Benioff and Weiss. He's like, here's Bugs Bunny. Here's the ovals and the circles. Here you go.
Right.
And what they did ended up not really playing in a way that was fun for the audience. But from what he's saying, it's not even what he intends to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's still talking now, as of this date, about completing these books, or he's just saying he regrets that they didn't get completed? He says, I had 4 books already in print, and the 5th one came out just as the series was starting in 2011. I had a 5-book head start, and these are gigantic books, as you know. I never thought they would catch up with me, but they did. They caught up with me and passed me, and that made it a little strange because now the show was ahead of me, and the show was going in somewhat different directions. I'm still working on the book, but you'll see my ending when it comes out. Which, assuming
he did in fact tell them how he intended to end it, that's him being kind of shitty, right? Like he's kind of like, oh, I guess people didn't like that.
right.
He's like, and that's how Jon Snow became king. Like he'll figure out a way to, give people the thing that they wanted.
Yeah,
or whatever,
kind of course correct.
Yeah,
He almost got a chance to test.
He's gonna Rise of Skywalker this thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, again, not having seen the show and yet knowing all of the various arcs, I have no emotional investment. This is just my way to like bluff through a cocktail party hypothetical conversation if it happened. Like, yeah, Tyrion Lannister when he did that, I admired it, but was conflicted about it. People would be like, yeah. Right? That's if I said that to you, Brian, you'd be like, this person has clearly seen Game of Thrones.
Yeah, as someone who it's starting to fade from memory, I would probably fake it and be like, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
When Cersei made the decision that she did, it was inevitable that the Queen of Dragons would respond in kind. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Bravo.
Sounds legit. Sounds legit.
I'd say you pass. The Turing test, is that what it is?
So the point is, to me, I'm just looking at this. I'm like, George, I'm not telling you how to do your job, but you had like one job here, which is get this thing done.
And I thought I've heard him say that it's made him seize up a little bit also. I mean, now you just have so many expectations and things to prove and whatnot. I mean, it must be like Everest.
I mean, I think to me, the fact that the sentiment tended to shift on the show once they were paving their own road.
Mm-hmm.
That tells me that maybe the genius label people were giving Benioff and Weiss was a little bit overstated.
Well, it's like the secret was, and it wasn't a secret, but they had detailed roadmaps.
Right.
Right. So, I mean,
until they didn't.
Right.
Yeah. So, there's so many lessons here. Like, I'm assuming HBO is like, well, by the time we get there, he'll be done or whatever. Like, that was probably the thing.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, the reality is that when you say Game of Thrones, people aren't going to think of his books.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to think of the TV show.
Right.
When you think of Walking Dead, you're not thinking of the comic book. You're thinking of the television show. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, you'd think there would be a sense of like, well, I want to make sure that this ends just as strong as it started. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, George. This has been advice for George R.R. Martin by guys who have no business giving advice to George R.R. Martin.
Right.
Well, hey, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about Loki. And we're back, and Loki's back. He's been back.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's it. I just thought you should know that.
Yep, just checking in. That's been Loki Talk with
that's
Movie Film Podcast.
Now, when last we spoke, you had only seen the first episode.
Correct. And then as of yesterday, today is Thursday, we're up to episode 3 now.
That's correct.
Right.
So we're halfway through the 6-episode run, and
wow.
Wow. That's all
wow. Yeah.
You know what I read? The director said Owen Wilson will not say wow in the show. And I was like, oh.
Oh, so like they wanted him maybe as like a little Easter egg to say it, but he's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
I either that or the director's just like, no, it's not happening.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Either way, they're depriving people of what they want.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I don't think that's right.
I saw, that some meme with that Rage Against the Machine song, that down, wow, wow.
Yeah.
You seen that where it's like, it's spelled out with Owen Wilson and Fozzie Bear. So it's wow, wow, waka, wow, wow, waka, waka, waka.
That's
and I love Owen Wilson, so I'm saying all this with love.
And I actually really like his character.
I agree.
Because we get more developed. See, I saw the first 2 episodes back to back, so I forget what's only in the first one.
I think it should go without saying, now that we're up to 3, we're just going to dive right in as if people are caught up with us for
Yeah.
Loki.
So if you don't want to be spoiled, then look elsewhere. Yeah.
Another 1-star review. It's like they were yelling at me.
Go ahead.
Episode 2 from the very start was like, okay, we're like in a buddy cop movie now. It was like
Right.
he had his feet up on the desk. Loki, he was getting oriented, and now him and Wilson are sort of digging through files together. And Loki's got theories, and they were traveling through time. They went to that Renaissance fair in 1985. So that's where episode 2 was.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, and then in the third one, which is being called a filler episode, and I disagree with that characterization, because I don't know that a lot happens in terms of plot movement, but a lot does happen, I think, in terms of character movement.
I'm somewhere in the middle. I loved 1 and 2 so much. Actually, I loved 1 so much, episode 1, that I was almost scared to watch episode 2 because I didn't want it to go down in quality at all. And then I watched 2 and maybe even liked it more.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I loved it. There were so many moments with Loki and Mobius, right? Is his name? The Owen Wilson character. I don't understand Mobius, and that's what I love. I think he likes Loki, but he doesn't trust him. But then there's moments where it seems that there's a moment where he's like, "Oh, I almost fell for you. What you were doing there," and he kind of admires it,
right.
Their whole interaction, and even Loki. I don't know how to read him 100%, but it seems like he even is semi-amused by Mobius. It's almost like they want to like each other, and then they have this whole conversation about chaos and order, and Mobius talking about wanting to try a jet ski, or at least he likes the concept of jet ski. There was just so much in there that I was just to sink your teeth into and enjoy with those actors and those characters that I really loved it. And I loved the time hopping too. And wait a minute, this person keeps hiding behind these world disasters, and that's how we can't track them. It just felt like a lot happening, a lot of character stuff and a lot of story discovery. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So I think with episode 3, I was fighting the feeling about 20 minutes in going, oh, they just needed to save budget on an episode so they can have 2 more big episodes. I was having those feelings while I was watching it.
Sure.
But I was also trying not to think that way and be like, okay, well, let me watch these 2 people now. Loki and this Loki variant, I guess. I have questions for you, Zachy.
Okay. I may try to have answers. We'll see.
Well, let's get then. Yeah, let's hear your take on episode 3.
I think, what's funny is I'm currently reading old Thor comic books.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the entire run of Thor from 1962 to 1999, all of it, And so I've just kind of been working through it. So I'm into the 80s. And the funny thing is, Loki is in the comic books. He's just a straight up villain.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's just a bad guy. So, the MCU is fascinating to me because it's one of those things where when it started, it was a reasonable approximation of the comic book versions of these characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then as time has gone by, it's kind of like if you're a little bit diverged here, the further on you go, the more it diverges. It's a variant in and of itself when you think about it. Right? And so the reason I bring this up is we're now 10 years into this version of Loki.
Yeah.
Right. And whatever kind of villain he was at the beginning, he's not that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's why there's a scene in at the end of this episode, the third episode, where him and Lady Loki, or Sylvie as she's called, they're trying to get on the ship, right? And they're like, Loki's like, they're gonna let all these people die,
mm-hmm.
And I was like, Loki wouldn't say that, And then I was like, that Loki wouldn't say that, the comic book Loki,
right?
But I'm like, that's where we are with this character,
mm-hmm.
And so I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm just like, that just tells you how these characters take on their own life.
Mm-hmm.
By virtue of the people playing them.
Right.
And we like Tom Hiddleston.
Mm-hmm.
we can't help but like him. He's a trickster.
Right.
And so what it does is it says, well, he's a villain, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
He's mischievous,
Right.
And so this episode is very much that. It's about filling in the backstory and giving this Loki the same redemption arc that the other the one who died, got.
Mm.
And this is what they're doing. And this is a very clever way of having their cake and eating it too.
Mm-hmm.
Because they get to keep the nobility and finality of Loki's death.
Right.
While also saying, but we're just going to pick up where that left off with this guy who didn't die.
It's kind of genius.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's one of those things where I'm like, you're either down with that or you're not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can dig it,
Yeah, me too.
And this is, I think, for me, when I what you said earlier about like this is the save money episode, you definitely get that sense. But you're also like, you guys need to save money, like you're the biggest franchise on the world, on the planet.
Well, I was also seeing some people wonder if it also had something to do with COVID. Where you can have your two characters sitting about 5 feet apart from one another, just talking for a while. And
I hadn't thought of that.
And even at the end, they do have some crowds, but they're not what you would imagine the biggest version of that scene in your head would being.
Yeah, well, that's actually, that goes to a thought I had, this was the first time, like watching the fight scenes and stuff like that, I got like a CW superhero show vibe.
Yeah.
Right?
It's funny. I don't mean to criticize because people worked really hard on this. But like, there's like a whole oneer. Is that what you're talking about at the end when everything's going to hell?
Even before that, to be honest, I was talking about when they're fighting on the train with the various people.
Right. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Because the oneer, I was like, all right, well, you're doing something here. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm not. That's not even meant to be a critique of the CW shows. Like, but you watch those and you're like, well, this is like, what you're getting with those.
I did like the moment with Sylvie though, where she was taking out those guards and she like jumped up on the wall and kicked off the wall to take that guy down. I thought that was clever fighting.
I like that. I like when she uses her helmet thing as a weapon.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. So they're doing some interesting stuff. But I guess my point is, I'm like, I'd almost rather not have the fight scenes. I'd like trade that for more character stuff because that's what's more interesting to me.
I agree. Maybe I just watched it like 2 hours ago. I don't know why it's so muddy in my head. But there was one fight scene I remember when it started. I thought, I don't want this.
Yeah,
like I want to just keep going.
That was definitely me on the train.
It must have been the train because the hallway I enjoyed and the ending destruction stuff I thought was interesting.
That worked for me.
Yeah.
But to me, it's because essentially this character, she's a variant of Loki. So he's talking to her, he's talking to himself, and by extension, he's revealing himself to us. All that stuff is interesting.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, going back to their whole conversation, I think I found the actual dialogue back and forth more interesting between him and Mobius last week.
Yes,
and I have so many questions about who the Sylvie character is that I almost wanted there to be more cleverness and questions and trickery between the two of them or something. Like I thought it could have snapped and crackled a little bit more. Yeah. Sort of like it did in that moment where they go to that woman in the sort of like trailer home sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, she has the blunt approach and he is like, well, watch this. But then it kind of doesn't work for both of them. Like I almost wanted a little more crackle between the two of them.
I would agree with that.
And self-discovery or something.
What's the thought I had was when we have the two of them wandering around this planet, it felt very Doctor Who to me.
Yeah.
Which you've probably not seen very much of that show, if at all.
Enough imagery to sort of have a sense of the feeling.
Yeah, and I don't even say that in a pejorative sense, but that show has a certain aesthetic to it that this evoked, whether intentionally or not. And so I was able to appreciate those parts of it. But for me, so often, because it's 6 episodes, so that means we got 3 more.
Mm-hmm.
And if it all wraps up in a way that's satisfactory, then you'll appreciate all the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But if it doesn't, then you'll be like, well, why did we spend so much time on this?
I did have that feeling, actually, where if I was binging this and then I watched this sandwich between 2 and 4, I might have a different feeling about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, just last week, maybe it was just last week was just too strong. I mean, like when they went into that grocery store, that was so eerie. It
Yeah.
was so well executed.
Yeah, eerie. Eerie is the word for it.
Right.
Yeah.
You get that sort of natural disaster sort of fear sense coming from the people in that date, that our heroes don't sense because they're not in it, right? They're just sort of joining it. And then even when those troops were being sort of rude to these poor people, and Owen Wilson was just like, hey, like they have enough to fear, like they don't need it from us. Like it's so rich. That episode just had so much. And I think this one just felt like talking at it like, you ever been in love? I was like, I don't, what are you talking about? Like, like I wanted a little bit more like, who are you? Like, what are you? How are you? Like, and then just even maybe more trickery between them and trying to separate, but then realizing they work better together. And I guess it just is, that's just the best way I can put it.
So kind of holding pattern after number 3.
Yeah, but I did love the idea. I like the whole conceit where it's like they're, his quick action brought them to a planet that is like an hour to exist, and then they break the device that's going to get them off. Well, there's an arc that's leaving. Like, well, we've got to get to, like, that's all great. I really did enjoy that. And then at the end, when you see the arc destroyed, I did sense this like, well, now what? Like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? There was a lot to enjoy. I don't know. 1 and 2 just really got me to like a certain place, and I'm being probably a little too hard on a chapter of something that I haven't finished.
That's, last week, as we record this, last week, you and I watched Iron Man 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we one of the things we talked about is that movie plays differently now than it did at the time it came out.
Absolutely.
Because now we look at it as like, well, we know where everything ends up.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a piece of this big story, and we know we can see the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas right now this is almost a little stick pin in time, this discussion we're having, because we're in a holding pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Now that being said, and this is just me guessing, so this is not a spoiler, it's just a speculation. I think where this show is taking us is to the establishment of a multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that only because the next Doctor Strange movie is called In the Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
So one presumes that that's a thing, right? Now I think it's reasonable to assume that the timekeepers are shady.
Right. So there's something we're not filled in on.
Yeah, but what this episode establishes is that all of the people at the TVA are variants that were plucked out of time.
Right.
So Owen Wilson, who's like, hey, I love jet skis, we can assume that he was jet skiing when he go, bing,
yep,
right. So they are not benevolent.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to end with the whole TVA thing crashing down. That's my guess.
Yeah.
And so we establish a multiverse, at which point, what does that mean for Loki? That's the big question. I think, unlike all the other shows thus far, there's nothing mapped out as far as Loki.
Right.
So what happens with him next? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that opening scene, by the way, with the Sylvie and that one guard.
That was great. That was unnerving.
So good. Yeah. I mean,
right?
Yeah, them being in this bar, and I was like, wait, who is this? Her friend? Is this like a girlfriend? Is this like what? And I love that the show is like, yeah, you don't know. Like, it's confusing, and then when it just cuts to another setting all of a sudden, and she's confused and I'm confused, that was really well done.
Yeah. So as far as the Sylvie character,
mm-hmm.
She is, I mean, the movies are kind of doing their own thing, but the character Sylvie Lushton from the comics is the Enchantress.
Oh no.
And she's part of a team called the Young Avengers.
Okay.
Which the MCU sure seems to be laying the pipe for.
Oh, sorry. My brain, I didn't even, I was thinking of the Enchantress from Suicide Squad, but that's DC.
Oh, different. Yeah. Get your superhero universes straight. Damn it. Sick of carrying you, Brian. No, so in WandaVision, we had Wanda's 2 kids who are in the comic books, they are part of the Young Avengers.
Okay.
they're Wiccan and Fasty. I don't know, whatever the kid's name is.
Festy.
I don't know. It's probably not a good superhero name,
That's
but
funny.
you know. And then in Captain America or whatever, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the grandson of Isaiah Bradley, who we see in that series, he's a character called the Patriot.
Yeah.
And the character's Speed, by the way, not Fasty. So, I should have gone with the obvious choice. But anyway, and then the Enchantress, the teenage version of the Enchantress, who is Sylvie Lushton, who I'm assuming this character is based on, is also one of these characters. So I'm assuming that that's where we're headed in the movie universe. But I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. We're like I said, we are at literally the halfway point.
Yeah. And I was being a little hard on this one, but that's only because, like I say, the first two were so good. Like
you say it with love.
Say it with love, but also, you know, giving it a little grace. Like, I mean, come on, this is good TV.
It's, you know, it's one of those things where I know that at the end of the whatever 42 to 50 minutes, like I'll be like, oh, okay, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to the next one. You know, like
totally.
There's never not that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And so far so good as far as that goes.
Yeah, I'm really even more immediately off the bat just loving this one so much more than the others, even though I like the others. And so I'm like, oh, come on, please. I really want this whole thing to stick the landing.
Now, by the next time we record a regular show, the Black Widow movie will be out, and the final episode of Loki will be out.
Wow, perfect.
So we'll be able to discuss them both.
I can't wait.
In addition to our F9 conversation.
That's going to be a big episode. It's
going to be jam-packed. So with that said, I think we should start getting ready right now.
Yeah.
So let's call it a day on this episode, right, and start working out training montage style, so that we're in our fighting trim for when we do our next regular.
I'm going to start flipping monster truck tires
as one does. Yeah. So just a quick heads up on what we have coming up in the next couple weeks. Next week, in the lead up to Independence Day weekend, we will celebrate the 25th anniversary of Independence Day with our commentary track for that.
Yep.
And then the following week, we will drop our commentary track for Iron Man 2. So we got 2 commentaries. We got plenty of content coming. And then as we roll into July, we got lots of stuff planned for that month as well. So have no fear. Fun stuff is coming.
Yep.
Before I send everybody on their way, Brian, anything you want to hype up?
Still writing away with the Puppy Dog Pals, Disney Plus, Disney Junior.
There we go. And as for me, you can find me at my website, zakiscorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my Twitter handle and my Instagram. Also look for my articles at the San Francisco Chronicle and IGN. Look for my 40th anniversary remembrance of Raiders of the Lost Ark at the San Francisco Chronicle. I had a lot of fun writing that, and I hope you'll enjoy reading it.
Awesome.
As always, please go to iTunes/Apple Podcasts and leave a review. It'd be nice to get a couple 5-star reviews while I got you, folks. So show some love there if you like what we're doing. And if you have any questions or comments, please email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. And keep the commentary requests coming. Like I said, we take them all under advisement. Everything is on the table.
Absolutely.
So new commentary tracks coming next week and the week after, and then look for our next regular show in 3 weeks. But until next time, on behalf of my partner Brian Hall, my name is Zaki Hassan. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Welcome, friends. It's the Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Zaki